We got a new lead of EPA, and everybody says this man is about the law and about doing things right and about deregulation of a lot of the things that President Trump was talking about when it comes to the Green Deal and Clear Air Act and all these things about zero emissions. You know, he wants to do things and have a balance. So I think this guy is going to be good for trucking. But let's get into today's video. And at the end, you can learn a little bit more about him. But this guy right here seems like, hopefully, you know, he does the right things for the American people, but also the American truck drivers. What's going on, the truckers? So we talked a little bit about Sean Duffy and how he would operate as a Secretary of Transportation and how both the left and right both like that guy. And so I'm hoping that he's not a yes man. But on this one right here, the new EPA lead will be Lee Zeldin.
The yeas are 56, the nays are 42. The nomination is confirmed.
And he is a former New York congressman, and also he is a lawyer. So he says that he cares about the law and doing things the right way. And so I'm hoping that if that is true, then that Chevron doctrine of the EPA not being allowed as an agency to make up rules and regulations, it has to go back to the courts. That's the way it's supposed to be. And I believe he's going to be following that. So the big difference that we're hoping to see this time around versus the last administration is no crazy EPA Clean Air Acts that's going to say that you're going to need a self-driving truck or a zero emission truck by 2027. None of that BS. You know, just things that make sense because they talk about things that are common sense, right? He writes right here, honored to begin this exciting journey as the 17th EPA administrator. Together, we will harness the greatness of American innovation with the greatness of American conservation and environmental stewardship. Time to get to work. And so he says here, it's an honor to join President Trump's cabinet as the EPA administrator. We will restore U.S. energy dominance, revitalize our auto industry to bring back American jobs, and make the U.S. global leader of AI. We will do so while protecting access to clean air and water. If President Trump, you know, wants deregulation on spending so much money on climate change and things like that, and the Green Deal and the Clean Air Act, well, he's here to make sure that gets done while caring about clean air and water on the way. And you can hear this because during his hearing, Bernie Sanders basically was trying to get him to say that President Trump called climate change a hoax and was asking him if he thought it was a hoax. And then number two question said that this is a global crisis and will he do everything in his power to help with climate change right now? And the truth is, he danced around that question crazy.
Unprecedented heat waves. In the midst of all of that, President-elect Trump has said that climate change is a hoax. You will be, if confirmed, one of the leading spokespeople in this country, representing us throughout the entire world. Do you agree with President-elect Trump that climate change is a hoax?
Well, first off, Senator, it was great to meet with you as well. I believe that climate change is real, as I told you. As far as President Trump goes, the context that I've heard him speak about it was with a criticism of policies that have been acted because of climate change, and I think that he's concerned about the economic costs of some policies where there's a debate and a difference of opinion between parties.
I would respectfully disagree with you. I think he has called it a hoax time and time and time again. And I would just say for the record that, and let me ask you this question, all right? Some of us have used the word existential threat. What we're seeing in LA right now is apocalyptic. And the other terrible weather disturbances, whether in the Midwest of this country, whether in many states that are represented right here, unprecedented floods in my small state of Vermont. We've been hit over and over again in recent years. Our state capital, Montpelier, was underwater recently in a way that we have not seen. Would you describe climate change as an existential threat, meaning that there must be an urgency to get our act together, to address it?
Senator, we must, with urgency, be addressing these issues. And today, as we talk about any way at all that the EPA can do its part to make sure that our air and water are cleaner, healthier,
Staying on
safer.
the one, look, EPA has enormous responsibilities.
So 100% he's looking at deregulation, and I'm hoping that it's going to be good for truck drivers. I don't know as far as, is it going to allow glider kits? Is it going to be the age of, old school cool again? Is it going to be the age of allowing semi trucks to be deleted? I'm not saying any of those things. I'm just saying that, I think this guy is going to be a good pick for the trucking industry. And if there is a rule or a law that needs to be passed through the EPA, it will actually go through Congress first before the EPA making some crazy rule. So, Mud Truckers, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about him, here's his opening statement at his hearing he did a couple weeks ago, and where he introduced his family and says what his goals are. But for the most part, I think this guy's going to do more good than bad for the trucking industry specifically, and that makes me happy. I think this is a good pick.
Ranking Member Whitehouse, and all the distinguished members of this committee. It's been an honor to meet with all of you to learn more about your highest priorities. I look forward to working with all senators on this committee, on both sides of the aisle, to tackle the most pressing issues facing our country. I humbly sit before you nominated to serve as the 17th Administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency. The American people made their voices heard in November, giving President Trump a mandate to lead our nation to prosperity. I'm grateful that the President-elect is giving me the opportunity to lead the EPA at this critical time. Our mission is simple but essential: to protect human health and the environment. We must do everything in our power to harness the greatness of American innovation with the greatness of American conservation and environmental stewardship. We must ensure we are protecting the environment while also protecting our economy. Throughout my life, I've been privileged to hold such titles as Congressman and State Senator and Lieutenant Colonel, but none has meant more to me than husband, son, and father. While one of my identical twin daughters, Ariana, is now back at college, I'm excited to be joined here today by my wife, Diana, and our daughter, Michaela, as well as my mother, Meryl. The American people need leaders who can find common ground to solve the urgent issues we face. I want my daughters, your loved ones, and every child across our country to thrive in a world with clean air, clean water, and boundless opportunity. If confirmed, I pledge to enthusiastically uphold the EPA's mission. I will foster a collaborative culture within the agency, supporting career staff who have dedicated themselves to this mission. I strongly believe we have a moral responsibility to be good stewards of our environment for generations to come. It's been so motivating to see the tremendous talent stepping up to serve in the EPA. I couldn't be more excited to partner with our EPA team nationwide to exceptionally serve the American public. I had the honor of working with many of you when I represented New York's 1st Congressional District. My district on the eastern end of Long Island was unique in that it was almost completely surrounded by water. My constituents took environmental issues very seriously, and I developed a record in Congress fighting hard and with great success advancing their local priorities. I worked across party lines to preserve the Long Island Sound and Plum Island. I supported key legislation that became historic bipartisan success stories, like the Great American Outdoors Act and Senator Sullivan and Whitehouse's Save Our Seas Act to clean up plastics from our oceans. Whether it was leading the fight for Sea Grant, combating PFAS in drinking water, voting for the Lautenberg Chemical Safety Act, or supporting clean energy projects on Long Island, I was proud to do my part to secure these environmental victories. Georgetown University and the Lugar Center consistently ranked me one of the most bipartisan members of Congress, and to that end, I joined the Bipartisan Climate Solutions Caucus to focus on tackling the challenges of a changing climate. If confirmed, I want to work with all of you to address the unique environmental issues facing your state. Not only do I want to partner with you, I want to learn from you. I ask you all what a former administrator asked a great chairman of this committee from my home state, Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan. What advice would you give me as I undertake to lead EPA? I look forward to having this discussion with each of you. The EPA must be better stewards of tax dollars, honor cooperative federalism, and be transparent and accountable to Congress and the public. The American people elected President Trump last November, in part due to serious concerns about upward economic mobility and their struggle to make ends meet. Too many of our fellow Americans are trapped in poverty and desperate for a whole-of-government approach to give them a hand up. We can and we must protect our precious environment without suffocating the economy. A big part of this will require building private sector collaboration to promote common sense, smart regulation that will allow American innovation to continue to lead the world. If confirmed, under the EPA, with my leadership, we will prioritize compliance as much as possible. I believe in the rule of law, and I want to work with people to ensure they do their part to protect our environment. Success is defined for many, including me, as leaving this world better than we found it. I want every child in this nation, including my daughters and your children, to inherit a world with clean air, clean water, and a thriving economy. This mission must transcend politics, and I look forward to working with all of you to achieve it.